For those of you who are brave enough to watch my episode on decluttering my kitchen, here is part two, where I tackle the pantry. Now, I say part two because food is a separate issue, but unfortunately, I tried to do my kitchen and my pantry on the same day, and you will find out later why that was not successful. So this is me getting all of my food out of all of the cabinets and the pantry so I can look at everything in one place and survey the horrible damage. Okay guys, I know I said I wasn't going to do food today, but I kind of got on a roll and there was some stuff I couldn't put away because I want to switch the position of everything. I just want you to know that everything up until this point right here, almost everything, is from one cabinet. It's from that cabinet over there. Guys, all of this was in there. This was in there. So how was I going to find anything ever? Now I'm just gonna do a really quick little thing to tell you. I have food issues. It's kind of a long story. I will spare you some of the details, but being raised with a scarcity mentality and having food sort of rationed and withheld from me, I tend to hang on to things. And couple that with some body shame issues that I have been dealing with over the last couple of years, trying to fit myself into a tiny little box that is acceptable. I tend to, up until a year ago, I tended to keep track of every single thing that I ate. And for a couple of years, I was even though I was at a really healthy weight, I was working with a nutritionist to count macros every single day, meaning I would count the number of grams of protein, fats, and carbs that I consumed every single day. And I did that pretty religiously for almost a year. And nothing really changed as far as the scale. I did see some improvement in my body composition, but the bottom line is that it just was not healthy for me to be that perfectionistic about my eating. So I had a lot of healing to do. And what you're seeing behind me is the very last remnant of that. I did two huge culls on my refrigerator and freezer over the last year. And it was really cathartic and very helpful. So now I'm going to do the same thing with this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pile of things that I'm just going to throw away immediately because they're either expired or whatever. And then I'm going to make a pile of things that I just want to comment on to sort of help you guys understand some of the food issues and how they manifest. So here we go. Okay, I've got everything sorted, and now I have a few things that I'm going to show you. It helps me to go through this, and hopefully it'll help some of you too. Coming from a scarcity mentality and also having ADHD leads to some unique challenges. So I'm just going to go over some of the things. Everything in front of me right here, this is all stuff I'm going to get rid of or at least address. And so I'm going to start going through these just a little bit, okay? I went through the same thing with my refrigerator. It was crazy, but this hopefully won't take very long. I just want to show you a few things. This Birch Bender's pancake mix, I have nothing against it. It was delicious when I ate it, but it is keto approved, and that goes along with my trying to cut carbs and be really careful about what I ate, even though I was a healthy weight. And this bag, I don't even want to put my glasses on and look at the expiration date, but I'm positive that this is over a year expired. So, okay. Gluten-free rotini. Now, there's an off chance that I bought this when my sister came into town because she has Hashimoto's and she has to eat gluten-free. But I wouldn't be surprised if I had bought it for myself to try and eat gluten-free pasta instead of eating carbs. But this stuff is gross, you guys. I'm sorry, I love you, Libby, but it's gross. I think you know it is too. Anyway. Pace picante sauce. Not that I have anything against pace picante sauce. Please don't come and get mad at me, but you guys, I live in South Texas and I have access to the freshest peppers you can possibly imagine. And there's no reason in the world why I shouldn't just make my own picante sauce or salsa. So this is an unopened container. It's also unexpired. So I'm going to donate this to the food bank. Adventures in ADHD. I had one cabinet that had jars and canned foods, and then I had my pantry, which also had some jars and canned foods. Anyway, it's a scatterbrained thing. So I have 2 containers of almost identical sauce. I felt a little bit better when I found out that one was tomato basil and one was marinara, but I just kind of shook my head at myself. I'm like, of course I've got two bottles of the same sauce over here. So those are, I'm keeping them because they're 2 different ones. Here's an example of something. Hershey's cocoa. This is the cocoa that I grew up with. My parents made us hot chocolate every Saturday morning when I was a kid. It's one of my fondest memories of growing up, and we used to make it, we would mix the cocoa and sugar together, and then we would mix that with hot water, and then we would put a small amount of milk in the bottom of the pan and like mix it all together and let it get really, really hot before we put the rest of the milk in it. And it's basically the recipe that's right on the side of the box, right? But since my childhood, I have come to realize that there are much better quality cocos than Hershey's cocoa. Sorry, Hershey's cocoa, but you guys kind of are on the low end of the spectrum nowadays, especially when we have access to things like this, Ghirardelli, 100% cocoa. I'm not saying that this is a bad product, just saying that this is a tier above that, right? And I've got a container of this, so I don't know why I'm hanging on to this, but it was buried in the back of the cupboard, and now it's going in the trash. 1/3 of a container of marshmallow cream. I bought this so that my daughter could make some special cookies a couple weeks ago. And I thought, well, I'm just going to hang on to it because, we might use it for crepes or for topping for something else. But this is the struggle of the scarcity mentality. The might use it excuse comes up so often. And the fact of the matter is we're never going to really use it. We're just going to hang on to it for a really long time and then throw it away. So that's what's happening now. A bag of all-purpose flour. I had this up in the back of the cabinet that I usually keep my oils and vinegars in. And it was just buried back there for who knows how long. And again, I'm not going to put my glasses on to look at the expiration date because I think I'm going to be embarrassed when I find out what it is. So I'm just going to throw it away. You guys, onion soup packet, really? I mean, I came by it honestly. This is the way that my mom cooked. She would use these flavor packets to put into things to make them taste better. But I don't cook this way anymore. I use fresh ingredients. I use really, really good spices. I love myself enough to spend the money on fresh herbs and really good organic spices, and I would never eat something like this. It's got so many chemicals in it and it's so bad for you, and it actually feels crunchy. So I guarantee you this probably is, I don't know, 5 years old. It's got to be at least 5 years old because that's when I moved to this house. So it can't be older than that because I really hope I didn't hang on to anything from the old house. Okay. Gluten-free whole grain baking and pancake mix, which is opened and held together by this little clip. I guarantee you it's not fresh, but I've been hanging on to it because, I might want to make pancakes and I can't eat carbs. Just kidding, I totally can. This was another one of those, like, try and see if this is a good thing or not. And I bought it at Costco. It is ramen made with organic millet and brown rice. So it's supposed to be like a healthier version of ramen. And I really got it actually for my kids to try because I don't really eat ramen, but they said it was gross. And you know what I did? Instead of throwing it away or taking it back to the store, I put one of these ridiculous clips on it to try and keep it safe and fresh until I decided I wanted to try it. Guess what, you guys? I never did. Once again, not going to look at the expiration date on this, but it does, well, January of 23. So it's only 13 months old. 13 months expired, that is. Okay, keto granola. This stuff is actually really, really good. I love this stuff. It is delicious. But I don't really eat breakfast anymore. I usually fast until lunchtime, and because I'm just not hungry in the morning. It's not an unhealthy fasting thing. It's just that I really don't feel like eating in the morning. So I will have my Creo with a little bit of cream and a little bit of sugar, and I just don't feel hungry beyond that. So it's not an unhealthy thing. But this has been in there for a long time because I'm like, well, I really, really like this, and sometime when I am hungry in the morning, I might want to have some. But again, it's probably expired. Oh, it's actually not expired. I can hang on to this for a minute. I'm gonna hang on to it for a minute. I'm proud of myself, you guys. That was cool. Okay, here's another random bag of self-rising flour. Now I do actually have a pizza recipe that I really love. I make a pizza crust with Greek yogurt and self-rising flour, and it's wonderful, but this is open and it's not sealed, and it's been in there for who knows how long, which definitely invites like all kinds of bugs and stuff. It could be totally gross, so it's going in the trash. Okay, I'm embarrassed about this one. Abuelita hot cocoa. Actually, this is not abuelita, it's just a Mexican hot cocoa. But you guys, I don't even like this stuff. I really don't. I don't even know where it came from. Did I buy it on a whim at some point? It's just like a chunk of chocolate, and I don't really, I mean, this one is sealed, but this one's in here just with no wrapper on. It's totally naked. Why? I don't remember buying this. I don't remember making it, but maybe somebody came and brought it to me and was like, hey, I'm not going to use this. Do you want it? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, because scarcity mentality. So this is going in the trash, and I don't even like this stuff. So why? Starbucks hot cocoa. I like it, but I'm never going to drink it. And it's like a rare occasion that my kids want to have hot cocoa. So I'll just make it from fresh with a really good cacao. I'm going to come back to that. These pancake mixes are from a weight loss clinic, not to be named, that I enrolled in because they claimed that they were the one that works. And again, okay, this time when I went, I did have a higher BMI than I wanted to. And so I was trying to find solutions for that. And this was something where you go for a weekly weigh-in. They give you vitamin B and vitamin E and vitamin C injections to help, you know, speed up your weight loss and everything like that. But then the whole rest of it was centered around calorie restriction, pretty extreme calorie restriction, restricting carbs as much as possible, and then instead supplementing it with these pancake mixes that are made of like fake carbs. So this goes into that category. This hot chocolate goes into that category. And also I have to say, and I'm not going to show you the label because I actually really love this brand, but this is a collagen protein. And I used to, when I was counting my macros, I had to squeeze in something like 135 grams of protein a day, which is a lot, you guys. I found myself like choking on, you know, steamed chicken breast and stuff like that at the end of the day because I hadn't eaten enough protein. So I would drink a protein drink every morning for breakfast, and that was a really long time. And this container, as well as this and this, are just reminders of that unhealthy time in my life when I was trying to be super hyper vigilant, perfectionistic about my body and about my weight and about my body fat percentage and all of that stuff. So fake food goes in the trash. I do not eat it anymore. I would much rather fill my plate with really healthy food and be totally satisfied than to be worried about every single piece of food that goes into my mouth. Another opened box of pasta, which I'm sure is expired. Okay, this might be the most embarrassing thing. It is a quarter of a container of rainbow sprinkles, and it's so old that the plastic looks old. And I know this stuff probably doesn't expire, but I can't imagine ever eating this, like wanting to put it on a cookie and then eat it. It's chemicals. That's all it is chemicals. But I hang on to stuff like this because I'm like, well, what if I want to make cookies with the kids? Okay, well, if I do, I can go buy some organic version of this or something that's a little less toxic. Anyway, I'm never going to claim that sprinkles are healthy, and it is fun to do stuff like that with the kids and hopefully my grandson at some point, but I'm just not going to eat fake stuff, and I'm not going to hang on to things like this anymore. There's a dog behind me. Lucky. Okay. You guys, for some reason, I have not one, not two, but 3 open containers of baking soda. And if you know anything about baking soda, you know that it absorbs all of the odors and everything from the air, so probably none of this is good. I am going to hang on to one container just because it's supposed to be like a good odor absorber for like the cabinets and stuff, but I'm going to have to go buy another one if I ever want to use it for baking, because that's gross. Open containers, no bueno. Okay, can of artichoke hearts. Never ever going to eat it. Like, not ever. Why would I eat canned artichoke hearts when I have, like, actually I have a nice jar of marinated artichoke hearts that I could go for, but that's going to the food bank too. You guys, chicken noodle soup, condensed chicken noodle soup. I love myself way too much to eat this garbage. It's not good. I mean, there is a certain amount of nostalgia, like when you're sick, but you guys, I have the best chicken noodle soup recipe for when I'm sick, and that's what I'm always going to use. I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to eat this, so it's going to go to the food bank. Olives. I don't even like olives. I have no idea where this came from. I don't know if somebody asked me to buy olives to put in something that I was making when they were coming over or something, but no, food bank. I'm really embarrassed about this. This is green chili enchilada sauce. Again, I live in South Texas. I have access to the freshest peppers. I know how to make really good Mexican food, so why would I ever hate myself so much that I would eat enchilada sauce from a can? Now, there was a time when I was a young mom when stuff like this was very helpful, because sauces can be a little time consuming to make really well. And so older me acknowledges and appreciates younger me and the young mom I was when I had 6 children at home, and sour cream enchiladas with green chili sauce was one of the only things my kids would eat. But it has been nigh on a decade since we've made that. So, and if I was going to make it, I would make my own fresh enchilada sauce. Here's another Adventures in ADHD moment. I bought this stack of canned tuna from Costco because, you know, everything comes in a stack there. You can't just buy one can of tuna. You have to buy a stack of, like, I think 6. It came in a pack of 6, so obviously I ate one of them. Good for me. Yay. But guess what? In my other cabinet, I also had another 2 cans from a previous stack that I bought, and a can of salmon that I still haven't eaten. So now canned tuna is only good for certain things. And so, like, on the go, you know, mixed in a salad, I actually have a really good tuna salad recipe that I like that uses this really good Atlantic caught albacore wild tuna. So it's only the good kind, but also I do not need this many cans of it. Here's yet another container that is open. Brown sugar just sitting there absorbing all kinds of moisture and gross things. Goes in the trash. Ranch dip dressing. Again, it's another one of those things where, like, I do not want to eat chemicals. I'm only going to eat fresh food. And also, this is a open, half-consumed package, which means that I used half of it to make some kind of a dip or something, and I put this back in here. What's the expiration date on this thing? I'm actually going to get my glasses. Best if used by June of 23. So. Peanuts. This is a bag of raw peanuts. I don't like raw peanuts. I like the salted ones, and if I was going to eat any kind of legume like this, I would eat pecans or almonds or some other thing. I definitely would not eat. Oh, these are roasted. Okay. I'm pretty sure that somebody brought these to my house to eat them or to make something out of, but when was that? It doesn't say. It doesn't say. We don't know. Probably expired. Okay, this last thing is a little embarrassing. I have a little bit of a tea problem. I have 1, 2, 3. This is kind of embarrassing because it's not even the best kind of peppermint tea there is. 4, 5, boxes of tea, in addition to these 2 containers full of tea. Now I do drink tea pretty often, but most of the time when I drink tea, it's at work, and I have tea at work also. So might beg the question why you would have these. There were a couple of weeks when I was not feeling well, when I had lemon ginger tea every single morning. And when I'm not feeling well, it is really nice to have some peppermint tea or something like that around. And I know that my sister gifted me some of these teas from other places that she visited, and I've tried all of them and I really like them. But it's gonna take me a really long time to drink all this tea, you guys. I don't drink tea every day. I drink it maybe 3 days out of the week, maybe. And I almost always drink it at work. The only time I make tea here and drink it is when I'm not feeling well. The other thing is I have had an intention for a long time to establish a healthier bedtime routine. And part of that was wanting to drink a nice cup of tea before I go to bed. And with that in mind, I bought a couple of these boxes with that in mind. Have I done it yet? Nope, haven't. Now, I'm not going to beat myself up for that because I'm going to give myself grace, and like, this is a process. All things in good time. I have to establish a pattern. I have to change one thing about my nighttime routine before I can change the whole thing. So I do need to give myself some grace. But I'm just looking at, like, I bought this nighty night tea. I bought nighty night extra. I bought this Dr. Stewart's sleepy time tea. And then, oh, also, remember I showed you that I had this box of Celestial, sorry, don't want to say the name, herbal tea, peppermint tea, right? This entire section, this is also peppermint tea, all of this. So it's an entire package. Maybe I've had one of them, and it's also not my favorite brand in the world. So what am I doing with all this tea? It's taking up so much room, and I don't really know what to do with it right now. So I'm just gonna sit with it. I'm just gonna let it sit here for a while I start putting things back in the cabinet that I am gonna keep. And I will come back to this later because it's overwhelming me a little bit. That's what ADHD feels like, even when I'm on my medicine. So anyway, I hope this hasn't been too boring for you guys. I hope you're getting something good out of it, and we'll do a little wrap up at the end. So this is confessional time. I'm talking really quiet because I have a secret to tell you. I got carried away doing my kitchen and completely lost track of time. And I went into the kitchen just now to decide how much longer I had to work on the kitchen. And I said to myself, okay, I have to be at this place by 6 o'clock to show up for my friend who I said I would do something for. And so that means I need to leave here by 5:30. And that means that I need to have a hard stop at about 4:30 so that I can take a shower and get dressed and get ready to go over there. And I looked at the clock and it was 5:30. Even when I'm on my medicine, sometimes I get time blindness and I forget how long, I can't estimate how long a task has been taking me. I think it's going to take me an hour and it takes me 3 hours. And I'm baffled that even on my medicine, I can't do it. So needless to say, I do not get to shower. I'm going to change my clothes right now and leave immediately. And all my kitchen stuff is out and my house is a wreck, but that's okay. I knew it was going to take me a couple days, so I am giving myself grace for that. And I also am going to celebrate the victory of how much I got done today. It was a lot. I got all of my cabinets cleaned out and almost everything put back in. And the only reason I get everything put back in is because there were some things that I wanted to put in the cabinets that the food was in. And so that's why I took all the food out to start doing that. And that's when I totally lost track of time. I should have just stopped right then. Anyway, wasting more time. Okay guys, so I didn't film it all yesterday. This is day 3. And as you can see, everything is still out of my pantry. It is organized into categories right now, but I have not taken the chance to put everything back in the pantry yet. Yesterday, I did clear out all of the things that I'm going to donate. So I have my table back, my dining table is back, which is lovely. And then I went to a store that has items from Sweden and those really big blue bags. So that place is designed to stress me out. Before I went, I measured all of the cabinet spaces that I needed storage solutions for. And I wrote down all of those measurements. I did actually take the measurements with me, and I also had them in my phone, so I had a backup just in case. Samuel suggested that I go onto their website beforehand and look at what storage solutions they had. And I was looking for some very specific things. Actually, I was looking for this specific thing because I thought that it would be a good solution for my hallway closet. The issue is that because all of the names of the products are in Swedish, it's very difficult to search the website in English and find what you're looking for. For example, I was looking for shelf liner. You know, sometimes people use that contact paper, those rolls of contact paper to put on the bottoms of their shelves. And what came up on the website was a sheet of thin bamboo, which would be fine if it fit my cabinets, but it didn't, and there was no way to cut it. So what I was specifically looking for was a thin gray felt shelf liner, because that's what I had seen. And I thought that was like a great peaceful idea to have a shelf liner that was made of fabric, and it was smooth and it wouldn't make noise when I brought things out and it wouldn't stick to things. So I was looking for that and I couldn't find it anywhere. So when I got there, I actually asked one of the store helpers to look it up for me, and even she couldn't remember the name of it because it's a Swedish name. So she couldn't find it on her little store device, and she called a colleague and asked them what the name of it was, and the colleague looked it up and told her, and then she was able to punch it in and find it. So all of that just to say that it is very difficult to find what you need on the website beforehand. So I kind of gave up on that and decided to just go to the store and just go take all of the shortcuts and go straight to the storage section. The problem with that is, if you've been to one of those Swedish stores lately, these shortcuts are not labeled. And so you have to find your way around. And the other issue is that all of their storage solutions are not in one place. Some of them are in the kitchen area, and some of them are in the laundry area, and some of them are in the office area, and some of them are in the marketplace. So there's literally no way to find everything that you need without going through the entire store. And when you go through the entire store, there are lots of distractions, and they design it that way specifically because then you end up buying more things, right? So I personally, Adventures in ADHD, I have trouble with places like that. So I went with a specific list, but I easily got distracted and overwhelmed. And then there was mission creep as well, meaning like I went there specifically to get storage solutions for the kitchen cabinets only. But then I started thinking about other storage solutions for the garage, for the closet, for the front entryway, just started getting overwhelmed and started collecting things that I probably didn't need. And I started thinking about solutions for my bedroom dresser and things like that. And I just had a really hard time focusing. Even though I had my youngest daughter there with me trying to help me, she was exhausted, I was exhausted. So we spent several hours, a large portion of the day, and a lot more money than I wanted to. The other issue is when I get distracted like that, I'm just trying to find solutions. And so I'm just trying to like narrow it down and focus, and let's just find this one thing. So I planted myself in one area of the store and I found this thing that I was looking for, and I started to think about the different solutions, and I had my measurements with me. And so I looked at a thing, and there are 3 measurements, right? When you're looking for a cabinet solution, there's depth, there's width, and there's height. But for some reason, I got hyper focused on just the height part. Like, are we going to be able to fit this in, underneath the shelf? I was looking specifically for something for my pantry. And so I found this solution over here, which was the right height. And I knew that I had a certain width within, and the one that I was looking at was half this size. So it was half that wide, and it was that height. And I was like, perfect, let's get it. I got several things that I did that with, where I only took into consideration 2 out of the 3 measurements. This is a very long story. Short end of it is that I have many things underneath this table right here, which are going to be returned to that Swedish store. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. But the good thing is, now that I've been there and I've seen literally everything that they have, I know what few little things are going to work for me. I have things organized in a way that I know where I'm going to put them and what sort of container I need for them. And I can be much more specific about the things that I'm going to get. My plan is to go ahead and go online, navigate the difficult website, do a pick and pull, let them gather all the items, and then I'll do one trip where I return all of the stuff that I got that doesn't fit or doesn't work, and then I'll pick up the other items that I'm going to select here in my house online instead of going into the store. So that's my solution. I just hope that I know there are some of you out there that have the same trouble that I do, focusing and getting overwhelmed in a big place where there are lots and lots of options. I'm not well equipped to make 10,000 decisions in an hour about my storage solutions. So that was not a good plan, and I learned a lot of lessons. So I hope that if you're in a similar situation and you're looking for some solutions, that's a good option. And I have to say, the reason I keep going back there is because they do have inexpensive storage solutions that are very good. And when you go to a place that has only storage solutions, I'm trying to avoid saying the names of the stores, but there's a store that's named after a storage solution. Like, it is the storage solution store. They do have a lot of really good options, but they tend to be pretty expensive for what you get. And I just want to say, this was in my closet in my bedroom for a long time. It served a great purpose there. It's going to go into my front closet now. It was about, I want to say it was about $50. I did have to put it together myself, but it's very sturdy and it's very well made. Not everything in that Swedish store fits that description. Not everything is sturdy, not everything is well made, but for the most part, their storage solutions are really, really good. So that's why I continue to go back there. And I don't know, if there's a better option, let me know in the comments. I would love to have it, because I really do think that I just want a peaceful home, and to have a solution that fits and works and is well made is really important to me. So I'm going to show you one other thing today about spices, and then I'm going to get to work figuring all of this out and getting it finished. Okay, so I just want to talk about spices for a second. We'll probably do a whole another episode about cooking, but I'm in a place where I realize that there are some small things that you can do when you're cooking and baking that make a huge difference in the way your food tastes and your whole experience with food. One of those things is investing in really good organic spices. Now, I know that not everybody can afford to buy the big jars of organic spices because they are more expensive. Like this little jar of Mexican oregano that's organic cost a lot more than this big container of kind of the generic. And it's not generic, but it's got a name brand, but it's kind of the less expensive alternative, right? But you can see the difference in the color between these two spices. This kind of has this grayish color, and this one looks a lot fresher. And it is more expensive. So if you don't want to invest in an entire jar of a spice, especially if you're making a dish that you don't normally make, like, I don't know, Indian food or something like that, I encourage you to go to the bulk section of one of the gourmet stores and just get what you need for that one meal or that one dish. For example, this is really, really good ground coriander. It's organic. It smells delicious. And this bag was 13 cents. This one is ginger, again, 13 cents. This is plenty for the food that I'm the one or two dishes that I'm gonna make. And then this one is a really good cumin, fancy cumin, 30 cents for this bag. So it's worth it to go and get the really good stuff because it does make a huge difference. This one is paprika, and you can see like the color of it. It's kind of a dull color compared with the organic alternative. This is so much brighter and fresher. And then this one right here is basil. And if you just look at the bottom of the jar, you can see, again, this one is sort of a grayish color, and this one is much fresher looking. So it's totally worth it to do the better spices. In addition, like, this is parsley. Guys, the fresh parsley is so much better than this stuff, and it's worth it. You are worth it to go to the grocery store and get the fresh ingredients for the dish that you're gonna make, or whatever it is that you're doing. You know, maybe you have a week of different Indian foods, so you go and get the spices that you need for the whole week. The fresh basil, the fresh sage, rosemary, so much better when it's fresh than when you buy it in the jar. And if you don't live in an area where they have the fresh stuff, at least invest in the organic version that's in the jar. Guys, this is probably my favorite thing about redoing my kitchen is the way that this spice rack turned out. I love the colors. It's amazing. I love just looking at it. So pretty. I know this episode was mainly about the food aspect, but I couldn't resist just throwing in this clip of when my kitchen was all completely finished and everything was resting well and in the place where I wanted it and where I'm going to use it more efficiently. This is the end result of the pantry, and I promised myself that I am going to revisit this again in a month or two and make sure everything is still in the ideal place. I would love to help you get your kitchen and pantry looking like this. DM for free consult.